Hello, and welcome to A Minute with Marshall podcast. I'm Macy Kessler with the Corporate Communications team, and I'm joined by our President and CEO, Ryan Marshall. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Macy. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Well, let's just jump right into our earnings chat. So what about the company's first quarter results were you the most pleased with?
We had a number of things that were just big wins for the organization in the first quarter. It was the best first quarter of the year that we've had in a number of years, highlighted by the fact that we had over 100% increase in our net income and our earnings per share, which was one of the highlights. We also had 12% growth in new signups compared to the same quarter in the prior year, and we had 10% growth in closings compared to the same quarter in the prior year. So some big increases relative to the prior period, which is one of the things that our investors in Wall Street typically pay a lot of attention to, and it was nice to see us have success there.
We are certainly off to a great start. So what did analysts have to say about the company's financial performance?
I think the way I would describe it, they were pleasantly surprised. So we got a lot of kudos. We got a lot of nice feedback about how strong of a quarter it was and how strong our business results were. They, as they typically do, they're always looking for, what the roadblock is maybe into the future, whether it's higher interest rates, whether it's higher costs. They're trying to anticipate what future demand and future success is going to look like, which is their job. They tend to be sellers of information, if you will, ultimately to investors that are buying our stock. So the big themes in terms of the questions were really around cost, inflation, rising interest rates, and kind of overall consumer behavior. Those were the big themes.
Well, turning now to the market, housing stocks haven't performed well in 2018. What's your take on why homebuilder stocks are down?
Yeah, it's really being driven by the interest rates, and specifically the 10-year Treasury, which is the one that the market tends to focus on a lot, and that typically translates into the rate that a 30-year mortgage sees, which is what our buyers really care about. And we've seen a bit of an increase in 2018, about a half of a percentage point of an increase. 6 months ago, you could have gotten a 30-year mortgage for probably 3.75%, 3.9%, but under 4. Today, that's right around 4.5%, so it's about a 0.5% higher. That's been the big story, and the reason why that I think all of the homebuilder stocks, ours included, have been under some pressure is because there's fears about affordability, and as interest rates go higher, it's going to become even more expensive to buy a home.
Yeah, and talking about those fears that higher interest rates will end the housing recovery, what's your view on where we are in the housing cycle?
We're definitely long in cycle. We're long into the traditional recovery. We know that housing and real estate is cyclical, and this recovery has lasted 7 years, which is longer in historical terms. Our view continues to be based on the underlying fundamentals of demand. And when we look at job growth, when we look at wage expansion, when we look at consumer confidence, when we look at supply, there are so many of the fundamentals that continue to be so strong that we think the recovery and this cycle has got room to continue to run. The one metric that we probably put the most weight on, if you look at the 50-year average of new home sales, it's 650,000 new home sales a year. We're still today only at 600,000 new home sales. And we've been that way for the last 10 years. Said another way, we're underbuilding, the industry is underbuilding what true demand is, or what historical true demand has been, and that's one of the things that I think is a great thing to look at to show that there is room for the housing recovery to continue to run.
That's great insight. Now, the company has talked about manufacturing becoming a bigger part of the construction process. What do you think this looks like for PulteGroup?
Well, we're in the early stages of evaluating what it might look like, and I would tell you it probably won't be a one-size-fits-all solution. I think depending on which market and which part of the country, the solution may take on a number of different shapes. So labor is a constrained resource for us today. We don't have enough labor for the industry to fully recover, in our view. And I think one of the ways that we can unlock the labor challenge is to do more manufacturing. I think it can also help with the affordability equation. If we can build things in a factory using some of the modern day technology and modern day robotics, I think it can help bring overall costs down. And that's a good thing for buyers, that's a good thing for the company, and so those are some of the things that we're looking at.
Now, since this is A Minute with Marshall, I want to ask a few questions about you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So you've been CEO for almost 2 years. What surprised you the most about the job?
Wow, that is a tough question. I think the thing that probably has surprised me most is the amount of time that I spend with our board of directors. So we all have a boss. In my job, I do as well. It just happens to be that I have 9 bosses. So we have 9 outside directors that are on our board, and I spend a decent amount of time communicating with and talking to them about the company and where we're going.
This is a fun one. Now, on a more personal note, what's your favorite show to binge watch?
Wow, great question. I just finished watching Breaking Bad, so I'm quite a bit behind in terms of the popular shows that are out there to binge watch. So that's the one that I just finished. I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I exercise in the mornings, I ride my bike in my basement, and that's the one time when I tend to try and catch up on a show, and that was the one that I just finished.
Well, I'm sure we can ask people to leave comments down and let them know what shows you should be watching next.
I've gotten several recommendations, but I'll certainly take more.
Now, just to end this podcast, any closing final thoughts that you want for our employees as we head into the rest of the year?
I'm so thankful for our employees and all that they're doing to take care of our customers. We have such a great culture in this company. It's a wonderful place to work, and that would not be the case if it weren't for the wonderful employees here. So I think my simple message would be continue to take care of our customers, continue to treat each other, meaning our coworkers, with respect, and continue to evolve the camaraderie and the sense of teamwork that we have here, and always focus on building high quality homes. That would be my big message.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you on the next Minute with Marshall podcast on Pulte Pride.